You're terrorist.
The success achieved in Portugal were not due to decriminalization alone. The country stands on a strong foundation of socialized public health care, which differs enormously from what we see in the United States. The Portuguese government is socialist and uses a socialist health care system, while the United States is capitalist and does not practice social health care. Any positive and cost-efficient data can be attributed to their socialist health care. Many proponents of decriminalization claim that Portugal managed to decrease overall drug use, but it really depends on how we choose to interpret the statistics. Lifetime drug users actually rose from 8% to 12% between 2001 and 2007. Though there have been some positive benefits, it should come as no surprise that large sweeping changes to the legal system have also resulted in some negative repercussions. The most glaring issue is the rise in homicides, which climbed by about 60% from 2001 to 2007. Incarcerations have risen slightly from 2001 to 2012, despite the fact that fewer people are now being incarcerated strictly for drug crimes. Behind Luxembourg, Portugal has the highest rate of IV heroin dependence in Europe. It was the only European country that experienced a rise in drug-related homicides between 2001 and 2006, while cocaine seizures in a number of European countries increased sharply during that period. In 2006, Portugal suddenly had the 6th highest cocaine seizures rate in total in the world. The number of murders increased 40% during the same period of time, a fact that might be related to the activity of drug trafficking. Although the rate remains low and Lisbon is one of Europe's safest cities, Portugal was the only European country to show a significant increase in murder during this period. Among school students, there is an increase in every drug category, with cannabis skyrocketing through the charts if it's a 150% raise. America also has significantly greater problems with intentional homicide, gang-related crime, and gun violence. A growth in the already prominent underground criminal scene could have disastrous social consequences. From 1984 to 1996, the Dutch liberalized the use of cannabis. Surveys reveal that lifetime prevalence of cannabis in Holland increased consistently and sharply during those years. For the age group 18 to 20, the increase went from 15% in 1894 to 44% in 1996. Holland has decriminalized drugs and tried harm reduction. Since the softening of drug policy, shootings have increased 40%, robbery 62%, and car thefts 62%. The number of registered marijuana addicts has risen 30%, and the number of other addicts has risen 22%. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, research shows that the most addicted individuals need at least 3 months in treatment to significantly reduce or stop their drug use. Statistics involving the cost of a single month of rehabilitation care can be nearly entirely dismissed in cases for many individuals. Only 42.1% of people who enter rehab complete the entire process. Because they are rarely held accountable for failing to provide adequate or promised services, they are able to maintain a cycle of extorting money from patients and their families. Time writer David Sheff, who almost lost his son to drug addiction, spoke to Joseph A. Califano Jr., former Secretary of Health Education. The therapeutic community claims a 30% success rate, but they only count people who complete the program. Califano adds that the other 70 to 80% have dropped out by the 3 to 6 month marker. There are no national accreditation standards for addiction treatment and very little in the way of regulations. 14 states require only a high school diploma or a GED to become an addiction counselor. 10 require only an associate's degree. Fully, 20 states in the United States don't require any degree or don't even require addiction counselors to be certified or licensed in any ways. That means that all of us here right now could go and be addiction counselors, which is the last thing America needs. Counselors are often called upon by the judicial system and medical boards to give expert opinions on their clients' prospects for recovery. Treatment facilities do not adequately background check on their potential employees, and thus often are staffed by convicted felons or employees that have been fired by other rehabilitation centers for misconduct. Few drug and alcohol treatment centers have adopted newer approaches that are proven to be more effective in helping people overcome addiction. They're costly and difficult to implement. My final fact is, by 1979, after 11 states decriminalized marijuana and the Carter administration had considered federal decriminalization, marijuana use shot up among teenagers. That year, almost 51% of 12th graders reported that they used marijuana in the last 12 months. By 1992, with tougher laws and increased attention to the risks of drug abuse, that number had been reduced to 22%, a 57% decline.